if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur.
Something unexpected may be unfolding behind the scenes of the NFL draft. A comment reportedly made by Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam has suddenly intensified the conversation surrounding Shedeur Sanders. What began as routine draft speculation has turned into a debate about strategy, respect, and influence. And if the rumors are even partly accurate, the Browns could be playing a much bigger game than anyone realized.
And this is the obligation that any owner has, and I don't know how many of them are even aware of the importance of keeping your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because anything you say, any question you ask, any facial expression, the other people in the room who would very much like to continue to be paid by the multi-billionaire that owns the team will be watching. No matter what you do, they're going to be watching. And I suspect that Andrew Berry didn't go rogue.
During the chaos of the NFL scouting combine, where executives quietly compare draft boards and exchange information, a reported comment from Browns owner Jimmy Haslam quickly drew attention. According to league rumors circulating among insiders, Haslam made it clear that Cleveland's decisions would remain firmly under the control of the franchise itself. The message seemed straightforward. In the NFL, ownership and front offices guard their authority carefully. Draft selections involve months of scouting, data analysis, and internal debate. Owners want to ensure that no outside voice, no matter how influential, dictates those choices.
All right, good morning, everyone. Personnel decisions, particularly with people at the top of an organization, are always difficult. And I can tell you, having made a lot of these over the years, that this was as difficult as any we've ever had to make because of the quality of the person involved.
But the context surrounding Haslam's alleged remark immediately raised eyebrows. At the center of the conversation was Shedeur Sanders, one of the most discussed quarterback prospects in recent years. Because of his talent and the visibility created by his father, Deion Coach Prime Sanders, Shedeur has become a unique figure in the draft process.
I really enjoyed watching you live before your game on game day, and you said something that was super interesting. You said, Shedeur doesn't get the respect he deserves because he's my son. Can you just elaborate more on what you mean by that?
Yeah, even coming out, if they would have just looked at him coming out of high school as a quarterback and he wasn't attached to me, he probably would have been the 5 stars. Not that stars matter. It matters to kids. It don't matter to coaches. And if they would have looked at him just by his ability and disconnected him from me, even when he was at Jackson, they was like, oh, my God, this kid's mechanics are unbelievable. His completion percentage, I mean, his touchdown to interception ratio is crazy. I mean, he's thrown 70 touchdowns in the last darn 2 years, and he started every game of his college career. They don't look at that. That's his son. He's giving him a pass. He's giving him that. He's giving him the job at Colorado. He's doing this and not just understanding who he is now that he's on the main stage. Oh, my God, Shedeur is this and that. We've been told you that. Right. And it's upsetting to us and it's upsetting to him because you shouldn't have given him that chip. Now he has that chip on his shoulder. And that Brady-esque, he's going to find something to get mad at every game, and he has that chip on his shoulder.
That visibility has generated 2 very different reactions within the football world. Some analysts view it as a major advantage. A quarterback who is comfortable under intense public scrutiny may adapt more quickly to the pressure of leading an NFL franchise. Leadership, confidence, and media awareness are all qualities teams value in a young signal caller.
But, I mean, every day there's things about the reps, the quarterback, Shedeur didn't get enough reps today. All of these discussions are constantly going on, and there's just such a spotlight on a team that's got a lot of issues, but the quarterback thing is all anybody can talk about, and that's the risk you take when you draft a Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round when you already have a plethora of quarterbacks to go along with it.
Chris, one of the questions I got during the break on PFTPM.
Others, however, see the situation differently. NFL organizations traditionally prefer to control the narrative surrounding their quarterbacks. When a player arrives with a massive public profile already attached, it introduces an additional layer of complexity. If Haslam's recorded comment was indeed directed at that dynamic, the meaning becomes clearer. It would represent a reminder that the Browns intend to make their own decisions regardless of outside expectations. But once the remark began circulating among reporters and insiders, it quickly became something more than a routine statement about team authority. It became the starting point of a much larger controversy.
And I want you to hear this, okay? First of all, ownership takes full responsibility for where we are. To win 8 games in 2 years is horrible. It's totally unacceptable, okay? And it's not going to continue, okay? And I want the fans to know we are as frustrated as you are, and we hear a lot from our fans, which we actually appreciate. We have great fans, they're extremely passionate, and they deserve better than what they've gotten the last 2 years, okay? No, I don't need to say anything else. We are going to give you a better product. Our sole goal here is to be a consistent winner.
To understand why this situation has escalated so quickly, it helps to look at what makes Shedeur Sanders different from most draft prospects. On the field, his resume already commands attention. Throughout his college career, Sanders developed a reputation for accuracy, poise in the pocket, and the ability to perform under intense pressure. Those traits helped elevate Colorado football into one of the most watched programs in the country. But the spotlight surrounding Sanders extends far beyond football statistics. Unlike many players entering the NFL, he arrives with an established personal brand. Through endorsement deals, media appearances, and social media influence, Sanders has built a profile that reaches far beyond the traditional boundaries of college athletics. That level of visibility creates enormous opportunity. Quarterbacks with strong public appeal often help franchises expand their national presence. They attract media attention, sponsorship interest, and fan engagement. In a league where brand power increasingly intersects with performance, that combination can be valuable. At the same time, it can also create hesitation among certain teams. NFL front offices are used to shaping the environment around their quarterbacks. They control messaging, marketing, and the pace of development. When a player already arrives with a massive spotlight attached, some organizations worry that the attention could become difficult to manage. The presence of Deion Sanders only amplifies that dynamic. Coach Prime is one of the most recognizable personalities in football history. As both a Hall of Fame player and a successful college coach, his voice carries enormous influence. For some teams, that influence represents leadership and experience. For others, it introduces an additional variable they must consider, and that tension is exactly what has made the Shedeur Sanders conversation so complicated. The NFL Scouting Combine is one of the most important events on the league calendar. Teams gather to evaluate prospects, conduct interviews, and finalize their strategies for the upcoming draft. But just as important as the workouts are the private conversations happening behind the scenes. Owners, general managers, scouts, and agents often meet in hospitality suites and closed lounges where discussions about trades, prospects, and draft positioning take place away from cameras. These informal settings can shape the direction of entire franchises. According to rumors spreading among league insiders, one such conversation may have sparked the current controversy. Witnesses reportedly claimed that Jimmy Haslam suggested the narrative connecting Cleveland with Shedeur might not reflect the Browns' true intentions. The implication was that the widespread assumption linking Sanders to Cleveland could be misleading. In the NFL draft, that type of strategy is not unusual. Teams frequently allow certain rumors to grow if those rumors help disguise their real plans. By letting other franchises believe they are targeting one player, they can protect their interest in another prospect entirely. If Cleveland were using this approach, the goal would be simple: keep rival teams guessing. But once whispers about that alleged conversation began circulating, the strategy itself became the story. Because if the Browns were intentionally allowing the Sanders narrative to grow, it could mean the quarterback had become part of a carefully constructed draft smokescreen. And once that idea entered the public conversation, the entire situation changed. The most explosive theory emerging from the combine rumors is that Cleveland may be orchestrating a deliberate distraction. In the NFL draft, misinformation can be just as powerful as accurate scouting reports. Teams know that every franchise is trying to predict what others will do. If you can convince your rivals that you want the wrong player, you gain a strategic advantage. According to speculation among insiders, Cleveland might be doing exactly that. For weeks, analysts and mock drafts have connected the Browns with Shedeur Sanders. The storyline felt natural. Cleveland needs long-term stability at quarterback, and Sanders has the talent and confidence to lead a franchise. But if the Browns were truly targeting another prospect, allowing the Sanders narrative to dominate headlines would help protect that plan. One name that has reportedly surfaced in those rumors is quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Unlike Sanders, Mendoza has received far less national attention, yet scouts reportedly admire his physical traits, including his height, arm strength, and traditional quarterback profile. For organizations that prioritize size and long-term development, those qualities can be extremely appealing. If Cleveland secretly prefers Mendoza, they would have strong motivation to keep that information hidden. Other teams searching for quarterbacks, such as the Giants or Raiders, could easily jump ahead in the draft order to secure him first. Protecting that interest would be critical. The simplest solution would be letting everyone believe Cleveland was focused on someone else. But if the combine conversation truly exposed that possibility, the Browns may have accidentally revealed the strategy they were trying to conceal. And that kind of leak could completely reshape the draft board.
So, people projecting him behind, Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is phenomenal. But Shedeur ain't no backseat rider. He drives his Maybach. He don't have a drive advantage. He drives it.
The moment you knew.
If the rumors surrounding the Cleveland Browns and their draft strategy are accurate, the next major factor in this story could be the reaction of Deion "Coach Prime" Sanders. Throughout his career, Sanders has built a reputation for defending his players and speaking directly when he believes something crosses a line. When it comes to his son, that instinct becomes even stronger. For months, media discussions have connected Shedeur Sanders with the Browns. Mock drafts, television debates, and analyst projections repeatedly suggested Cleveland could be the team that selects him and builds its future around his leadership. If the Sanders camp believed those conversations reflected genuine interest, discovering that the narrative may have been part of a strategic distraction could feel very different. In the NFL world, respect matters as much as talent. Players and families pay close attention to how organizations communicate during the draft process. If Coach Prime believed Shedeur's name had been used simply to influence other teams' strategies, the situation could quickly become emotional. At the same time, Sanders is also deeply familiar with the business side of football. He understands that the NFL draft is filled with secrecy, strategic leaks, and carefully managed information. Teams protect their plans because revealing them too early can cost valuable opportunities. The question now is whether Sanders views the situation as a routine draft maneuvering or something more personal. While the spotlight has focused on Cleveland and the Sanders family, several other franchises may be quietly watching the situation with enormous interest. In the NFL draft, uncertainty for one team can become a major opportunity for another. Two organizations frequently mentioned in discussions about quarterback needs are the New York Giants and the Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams have been searching for long-term answers at the position, and both are positioned in areas of the draft where a sudden shift could dramatically change their strategy. If the Cleveland truly planned to select a quarterback other than Shedeur Sanders, rival teams would want to know as quickly as possible. Holding a pick ahead of the Browns could give them leverage. They might draft Cleveland's true target themselves or force the Browns into a costly trade to secure their preferred player. That kind of maneuver happens regularly in the draft. Teams sometimes move up only one position, but that single step can require surrendering valuable picks. Another possibility is that rival franchises simply wait and observe. If tension grows between the Browns and the Sanders camp, Shedeur's draft position could shift unexpectedly. A player projected near the top of the board could slide further down than anticipated. For teams ready to act quickly, that kind of moment can create a rare opportunity. As draft night approaches, the uncertainty around the Cleveland Browns continues to grow. What started as a quiet rumor from the NFL scouting combine has now become one of the most talked about storylines in football. At the center of it all is Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback whose talent and visibility have drawn massive attention across the league. If Cleveland selects Sanders, the months of speculation will suddenly look accurate. But if the Browns choose a different quarterback, the shock could ripple across the entire draft. In the NFL, one unexpected pick can force multiple teams to adjust instantly, and this situation may create exactly that kind of moment.